Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. Today we are continuing the experiments that are involving hatch farming. I hit you guys up in the comment section with the last video, and boy did you guys respond. Lots and lots of really good ideas of how to automate the hatch farm, the hatchery, and take a lot of the time that our duplicants are spending doing different things inside of there and automating a lot of those tasks. Some of it's just going to be simply by setting the geometry up correctly in the base, but other things are also using other sensors and whatnot. And there's a lot of really good ideas in here. It's almost a bit too much to process, but there's about 3 things right off the top that were talked about. So we're going to go over those. But the other thing I want to figure out here is do a timed experiment, just like we did last time, where we ran through 10 cycles. But this time we're going to focus on a different type of hatch. Okay, now here's another thing that I saw that, for whatever reason, just doesn't work for me. When I put these over doors that are sideways, like, that doesn't work out. I saw Grind this game. He was being able to use doors like that, but for whatever reason, my hatches, they just like fall off of it. Your dupes can run around on them. What? What magic is this? What was that? I don't understand these physics. Nope. So you can't drop them and have them stay. This game. Okay, anyhow. So I guess that is an option, unless it gets patched. All right, so for the first recommendation that came from Lunix, and the other guy was BJA69. So this idea is using a pressure plate with a sensor to kind of count, when a duplicate comes over here and they step on this thing to do their work. That then sets up a automation signal. Okay, so the idea here is that you can automatically turn off the incubator. You can use a weight plate to do this. Just make sure that they're not going to be running past it all the time. All right, so here's one of these incubators in operation. You can see it's currently active. Now duplicant's going to come down here, and you can see they're on the thing right now. So if I slow this down, you can see that shuts off. And now the countdown is starting. And then when they walk away, essentially it's going to be off for as long as this thing is set to. So what I'd really want this to be set to is pretty much a full cycle. Unfortunately, I can't do 600 seconds. I can only do 200. So it takes more than one filter to do its job. We also want to filter out anything like the dupes that are just running across it. So since it's currently active in its state, we can run a buffer gate, and then we can run a filter. And maybe we don't need this one up here. It's kind of a more complicated setup than just using a clock sensor, but it's another idea. Okay, so you can see, darn it, you stupid stone hatch messing up my test. All right, so this is what the automation looks like once you get it all set up. I'm filtering out anybody who happens to be just walking by using a little bit of a buffer gate here. So that's set to 15 seconds. That's long enough for when they're actually doing the lullabying. This is set to below 25 kilograms, and then I'm just using 3 filters to get up to 600 seconds so that we get a full cycle out of it. And if everything works out, this should remain off until they're ready to lullaby, so long as nobody stays idle on that thing for too long. This is like the most anxious bit of testing. I mean, how much that guy could fall asleep on there and totally blow up my power. There we go, did a little bit of lullabying, and it's now reset. So in this case, the incubator only used 3.2 kilojoules. The dupes were just idling right next to it. So yeah, I mean, there's another way to do the same sort of thing. Rather than using a clock sensor to bring in power and whatnot, you can kind of just do this number here. As long as you can keep your dupes away from it. They just know I'm doing this experiment and they're trying to mess it up. Okay, so one idea down. Anna here was talking about how hatchlings cannot jump, so they only stay on the single surface that they're on. So you can actually maybe use that to our advantage. Sparkle was also had a whole setup over here. So if we take a look at that. All right, so here's what's set up. You can see They have a full automation thing going on here, lots of different layers and stuff. But essentially what's going on here is the hatches can't jump up here until they're an adult. So the hatchlings just stay down there, right? So that's using a tile to automatically sort between hatchlings and hatches rather than having to have a duplicate come down there and wrangle them and then sort them. So we could probably use that to our advantage. Also in this setup is kind of a water and a door that's set up to kind of trap the critter, turn it into meat, automate it, take it out, expand on it. There's a lot of really creative ideas as far as how to set up an automated hatch ranch. You can see one here. This is like really impressive. Look at that level of automation. Woo! I don't quite have time to go through all of that, but that is a pretty awesome forum post. You can find that down there. Well, you can see it right here. It's just wrangle-free, automorph, hatch V1. So one of the last ideas was to have kind of a cup room, as Rock has set up here. So this idea right here is to essentially have a smaller area for the critters to be in. So when you go to bring them in to groom them and whatnot, it takes a lot less time for them to go from here up onto the thing. So your dupe can process through the room a lot faster. And there's one more tip here from Dost, and that is if you ship the eggs to a room that is over 75 degrees Celsius, it will cook the egg automatically into an omelet. What? All right, guys, it's time to stand up, stretch a little bit, and get seriously automated. All right, so room, first things first. We got to have a little bit of a room. I don't know exactly how much. I want a bowl. I want a bowl of hatches. Deliciously scrumptious hatches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be a 5. 1, 2. It's going to be a 5 by 3 up. So there's 5. And there's my 3s. Let's take a look at this room. 119, a little bit too big. 99. So if you kind of put a nose in the smiley face, yeah. That's not weird. Okay, so that room right there is 96 tiles. So how do we automatically bring the hatches in? Well, it makes sense. Rather than having them below, we want the incubators up top. We want the incubators up top. So an idea is that we could just drop them into the hole, right? So if I were a hatch, and I was dropped from here, boom, I'd end up right down there, wouldn't I? Slightly confused and hungry. So what I could do here... we're gonna use the vertical door trick. Little pneumatic magic right there. Some weight plates. If I happen to be a hatchling and I land over here, there's nothing I can do because I can't jump. I can't get up there. But if I'm a hatch, I can get up there and I can drop down and it would be a bad day. Although I think I might want to put those doors over here like this and then put the weight plate in there so that once they stepped on it, they're stuck and they can't get out. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yes. So what I'm doing here is if I use a knot gate, then I could do one of those like that, and then I could also do one of these. You know, I really only need one of these. It doesn't make sense to have two. Although it's so symmetrical, I can't turn away from it at this point. So if I go back to the spawner and I bring in a hatch, a full-grown one, and it's over here, it runs up there, and then just gets massively stuck. I can compress this a little bit more. What I do is I just use a critter sensor. I think that's what was being used anyhow. Put the door there, and then we bring this. This is looking even cooler now. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm gonna have to start using metal tiles, just gold tiles. All right, so we rolled the knot gates here because, man, the symmetry is just real. Look at that, look at that. Alright, this one's here just so the dupes can do their thing, right? See the little baby hatch? Can't do nothing. But if I'm a big hatch, watch what happens. Come on, do it. Yes! Ooh! And where did it drop? It dropped right down there. Woo! Yes! Now, for dealing with eggs, we've got this fantastic device, the auto sweeper. Not only is it amazing at sweeping things up, it can also take things in. So I'm going to make use of that. Here's a couple of ladders for you. Whoops, I don't need 2 ladders. Here, eat that one. Nom, 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 nom. So now if I take, would you just, okay, so now if I take the feeder, boom, and put it right down there. Well, let's see here. Where else could I put this so that it can still reach everywhere? Okay, I could put it right there. That's a little bit more logical, because then I can be like, you know, whatever food you want. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. But you know you just can't do that, because it must be symmetrical at this point. Certain things become a requirement just because they do. Even though it isn't, like, truly symmetrical. Whatever. I know you understand, deep down inside. There's a part of you that gets it. I want to see this again. Come on, Hatch. Now, we have to get rid of our extra hatches, you know, if we get too many down here. So we're going to put a critter sensor right there in the middle. Okay, so tell me you can jump up there. Yes, you can. Goodbye. Only if it's open. Are you stuck now? Yeah, of course you're stuck now. That's what you do. This idea is too legit not to work. Are you? So we're going to use the Xor Gate here to make sure that that door doesn't stay open and more hatches just run out of it. So it will run, hello game. Wow, you're doing well today. Okay, good job. I think you're just going to have to ignore that ghost of a thing in there. Yeah, that'll probably be a thing. And then take this automation signal here, right? Which means my output is going to be, you know, high or green. So the doors open up. Hatch can run out, but since it's up there... Oh, hang on. I don't want to use that. That's the wrong one. Hold up. Do I got to do this number? And then run the not to that. People are going to start complaining that this is too complicated. Come on, game. Don't make it this complicated. Okay, so with... one critter in there, that's not too many. But if I spawn up another one, who might just find its way through a door. Come on, buddy. There you go. You drop in. Now there's too many. Wait! Why did that stay open? I just killed off all my hatches. What's going on here? Why are you still active? Oh! Oh! I get it. So what I need down here is... yes, an auto loader and an auto sweeper. You put these hatches back on top. I can't keep them. They just keep... it's like an amusement park, man. They're having way too much fun right now. So now I do this number here so that this room is separate. It's not a room. It's actually too big, isn't it? I can get rid of that center tile right there. And what am I left with? 96. It works. It works really, really good. Look at this. I just take some hatches, right? Some of them won't even land in the right spot. Hang on. There we go. What I want to have here, 7 hatches. There they go. They drop in. We got a lot in there. There goes some more. There's currently 7 critters down there. There's 8, 7, 6, 7. Oh no. A bunch of them committed. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to slow down some of these hatches. I mean, really, you're not going to get like 100 hatches up here, but you got to stress test everything, right? What I want to see is how many times do we end up with less than ideal numbers. You got 7 in the room, more dropping in, more jumping off the cliff. Yeah, so we settled out at 6 that time. See, these hatches are still ending up in this door. I can take this sensor and I can bring it up there, just kind of get it out of the way. If I don't enable one side, you know, just run off of one door, you run that to 7. Let's see what happens. Bring in a bunch of hatches. Okay, so now we got too many down below. We're gonna have to get rid of them. Okay, so once again, we ended up with 6. Those pneumatic doors just really get the hatches. They don't know what to do. Never mind, we got 7. The little one grew up. It should have never grown up. It should have stayed a hatchling forever. All right, so here's what's up. I love the symmetry, but I think it's gotta go. Okay, so this is a good idea, right? This works. I'm liking that. Okay, so I need 2 critter sensors in here. What I'm going to do is make sure that there's more than 1, but less than 2. So if I meet that condition, then I'm going to open that door, and I'm also going to close that door over there as well, so nobody else jumps up. So I'll just do this, I think, is what I want. Maybe, maybe not. So that loop right there should do what I want. So if this is more than 0, okay, so there's like 3 hatches in there. So it's saying, nope, there's too many. I can't do anything. So it said, nope, I can't do anything, right? So it has 1 hatch in there and it drops it through. But let's say I was to spawn 4 hatches into this one spot right here. Watch what happens. Okay, so the automation automatically says, yes, I have more than 0, and yes, I have more than 1, so therefore this door remains closed, and that one remains open. And I don't open this door with this signal at all, except I need to do that. So it needs to have yet another AND condition to have that door open. Wait a minute. If I just leave a tile open underneath this door, there's no way a hatch could get stuck in it. Well, we're going so full circle today. Okay, so I don't need this. Okay, that is not necessary. We're just... Crap. Bear with me, guys. This is kind of crazy, but it's getting a little bit more simple. So if that is above 7, then it will open up, allowing them to get into this spot. And if there's more than 0, but not more than 1, then it should open up. Otherwise, it's just going to dump it back out. This will probably close the second they run up there, so we might be able to trap some in there. Which means we could end up in a stuck situation. No. No, it does not. Hold up, I think I got it. So there's too many. They run up there. Uh-oh. I'm out of time for recording this video, and I haven't even gotten to the testing part. Guess we're going to have to add 45 minutes. Let's be real. I'm trying to get better at how long I make these videos. So far, not being too successful. I think it's just an Xor Gate. If either of those are true, then it opens up. Yeah? Okay. True. Only 1 got on. Good. How many's in the room? There are only 7 critters in the room. Okay. Here we go. Time for another mega test. Here comes all the hatches. We have too many, right? We got like a bunch in here. We got like 13 hatches in it. They just keep running in. And there's way too many over here, right? Like, look at this. There's just tons of hatches over there. What do we do? How do we get rid of all these hatches? I may have hit a point where there's just too many hatches. It's trying. It's really trying to get rid of some of these hatches. Even the game is kind of freaking out. Like it doesn't know what to do at the moment. Let's bring it back to a more practical level. There's 20 of them in here. Okay, so now there's 10. Okay, that's a little bit better. There's 13. Come on. Yes, we caught one. Good. Here goes another one. Excellent. Too many. Oh, come on. See, now if there was food in here, that might actually be a different story. So if I put food way over here on the right, where they're going to want to go over there and eat. Ooh, yeah, they run away. There it goes. We're down to 10. It doesn't really seem like this door is necessary. It really just kind of keeps them from going in. So you can see we ended up with critters. We ended up with 7. So let's just try this. We're going to add 1, maybe 2 hatches this time. Just 2. Once they decide to come to life, there goes 1. Gravity will take over in just a moment. There it goes. So now we've got to get rid of 1. And 1 goes away. Oh, there we go. We caught ourselves yet another critter. So we still have 7 in the room. Here comes 2 more critters. Yes! It works. It works. All right, so now just to kind of clean it up, because it's a little bit messy there. So what I want to do here, right, is I'm going to brush in a little bit of water. And that's just going to take care of those things. We don't have to worry about the auto sweeper being underwater. Not even sure the conveyor loader has to be worried about. And there we go. They're turning into food just like that. Wow, there's a lot of them in there. Oh my. 140,000 calories. Okay, so when it comes to dealing with the eggs, all we need to do is use our auto sweeper again, which we kind of started to work with. We can sweep up eggs and deal with them that way. We can also bring in the food that we want right there. And then when it comes to food, obviously we're going to have a critter feeder. We can actually put a couple different types down here if we really want to. We have room for 2. This is only 59 tiles, so yeah, it has to get bigger. And there we have it, 96. So it's part storage facility and part hatch ranch. Holy crap! I looked away for a little while. Look at how many hatchlings we have over here. Okay, so let's talk about eggs. A lot of people were talking about the fact that you can just leave them inside of a storage container and then they will crack open over time. I've seen that in my base as well. It's very useful and kind of, you don't really need an egg cracker unless you just really, really want some eggs. So we're not going to put one of those over there. However, I think we're going to put a couple incubators over there. 3 of them to be exact. And then we're going to put a receptacle right there. You know what? I think we could even do a loader. It's getting compact. And if we make sure that no dupe can travel through there. Yes! Yes. And then if we switch these out, not that, the floor things with the oh so crazy sensor setup that we have down here. It's not quite crazy. It's not the most crazy. We got a lot of fun automation going on this time. Look at them all. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, okay, yes. Automations. Buffer, filter, filter, filter. That's my type of automation. Buffer, filter, filter, filter. Psh, I'm down with that. Crap. I'll put that there. Oh, held up. We'll just go to the other side. Not a big deal. There you go. Try not to go cross-eyed. Set these to 15 seconds. No baby hatches are going to hang around for too long. You might actually be able to put it down in a little pit. And then they can't... Well, okay, never mind. I'll do 200 seconds on that one. Oh, here we go. Copy settings. Haha! Thank you, Clay Entertainment. Okay, so for the last thing we need to incorporate is the auto cooker. Sorry, dupes. You're not going to get any experience cooking stuff. I know we usually have a chef, but you've been put out of a job. How about that? It's like the future of fast food. Just a vending machine. Little tube comes down. Patty. 3D print the bun somehow. Little robot comes out with like a pickle and it's like shwink. I'm totally down with that. Like honestly, that would actually be kind of fun to make. You let me know if you want it. But I'm not paying. Hatchling egg. What was I doing? I totally got thinking about food. Meat. Meat's gonna go somewhere. Meat's gonna be like, okay, so if you're an egg, you're gonna go up there. Then that egg is going to be picked up with an auto sweeper. Okay, so if the egg comes up here, boom, and we'll automatically stick it in one of these things, and that'll take care of it. Even though it's pretty easy to do, is I need a spot to cook those eggs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use one thing I just never ever use, which is why I can't find it. I'm going to use the liquid tepidizer. And then right up here, I'm going to have that. We're going to have a receptacle. It's going to bring them in, and then a loader that's going to take them out. We're just going to plug all of this in. So then I could just take some water, and I could brush that water in there. I don't need that much water. It can be kind of less. Behind this, I'm going to put a temperature shift plate. And oxygen, I should just be able to fill this with oxygen. There we go. So the eggshells will go down over there, but the eggs themselves, the raw eggs, will go on over here. And then across the conveyor bridge, we are going to bring back the omelets that are nice and complete. And we'll put those into a receptacle for our dupes to have some fun with. And we could say, allow manual use. Yes! And I think we have completed the automation completely. So over here, the temperature, that's going to get up to hopefully about 80 degrees Celsius, which will be more than enough. And what I'm thinking is the stuff that comes inside of here should automatically turn into an omelet. So if I just select edible, boom, that should take care of it. So now I'm just going to bring in some hatches down below. 7 of those little guys. I'm out of time again. Oh well. Okay, so the thing that I want to see here is that the auto cooking works and that the dupes are spending less time tending to all of this stuff. So we can actually get some reports and see what that turns out into. As far as the food is concerned, it should be fairly comparable to what we had down there because we have the same number of hatches. So I'm going to run this real fast and let's see what happens. And then that'll just have to be it because I'm out of, I don't have any more time to spend on this. All right, so here comes in another hatch. We're going to see him jump on over there and then drop in. Boom. Then somebody's going to decide to get out of there. There's a couple of them up there. How many did I end up with? I'm running this game so fast. I think I'm getting some weird... like, I'm in like ultra super fast mode trying to get this thing done. Like it was working just fine before I tried to go super fast. I think there's really only one way I can do this now. And that's if I let the game just run fast and we come back to it, you know, hours later. All right, so it's the next day. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up here. Kind of go back over what I came up with in our second prototype. Essentially, this is how I'm thinking about it. We got our first prototype that we did down here. That kind of set some things up. You guys gave a lot of really good feedback. And now we did the second prototype, which is the Swiss Army knife of all automation, right? Not all of this stuff is going to be needed. You're probably only going to need the screwdriver and the knife. So let's figure out what works, what doesn't work, and what's really not necessary here. That'll roll itself into a third video, which is blueprint and application, where I take it and I bring it into my ultimate automation challenge. So, running over this hatch farm that I have right here, let's start off with the incubators. So the incubators are running through an automation signal that we have up here. And the weight plates is a good idea as far as, you know, a duplicate standing on top of that thing, lullabying it, it then turns off. Unfortunately, they don't want to come up here to take the hatches out of the incubators. So if we combine an idea essentially where we bring in kind of a clock sensor and then we use a weight plate to disable it rather than just using the timer to run out, I think we can get the best of both worlds. Because we know when we're going to activate it, so we can time that up with where a duplicate's going to be nearby, and then we can essentially just deactivate it once they've lullabied it, and that should be nice and efficient. And it should also be a lot less wires. This over here, this little arrangement was a fun idea as far as having a hatch not being able to go up there. I'd say it's probably the one of the most successful things that we have in this ranch right now. The one thing I would do is I think I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to pretty much put it over here on the left and then put the incubators before that so people can, like, you know, the duplicates can run in and out and do their thing without having to run through this area every time. If they happen to be carrying an egg, they struggle to get through here. So some rearranging of the stuff that we have up there is going to be important. How this works is all it does is it detects you have 0 critters, so if it's above a 0 critter, you can see it just runs a NOT gate there. So if a critter jumps up there, then it flips, trapping them in, the door opens up, and they fall down. And down here we have a nice big room. Again, always 96 tiles if you can get to them. 96 is the best way to go. And we kind of have a small bowl design, not necessarily a full bowl, but like a half bowl. And that kind of reduces the distance that the hatch has to run, so Rudy here can be more efficient. How much more efficient? Not terribly more efficient, but we'll get to those numbers here in a second. There's an auto sweeper arm here that can automatically pull from a storage bin and fill up the feeders so that the dupes don't need to do that. That saves them a little bit of time. And if your dupe was really, really far away and they wanted to run all the way over there, that would save them quite a bit of time. So auto sweepers are always a good thing to have. They save time no matter pretty much whenever you use them. This was probably the most challenging bit of stuff over here, and probably the one thing that you won't recreate. So there's a critter sensor that detects when it's above 0, and a critter sensor that detects when it's above 1, and I take the not from that. So when both of those are true, essentially we have 1, but not more than 1, then that door will open. And then we control this door with a combination of that and that so that the critters don't jump inside of there. That saves you from wrangling to deliver to a spot. The thing about that is that we have the room for it down here if we just get rid of one of these little feeders, or if we just kind of rearrange our room a little bit. And the amount of time it really takes to wrangle and then pick it up and deliver it just a few feet away, I don't really think it's worth all the effort. It is pretty cool though. I like it. So if you want to show off, you can do something like that. So those guys just drop through a vertical door there and end up in this pit. There's other ways of doing critter recycling that we might get into as far as things that work with Dracos and whatnot. You might have one spot where you just do all of your critter recycling as opposed to having it built into the farm. And we'll just have to get there. But different ideas that we can explore. And last but not least is one of the more fun things here, and that's the automatic cooking device over here. So that was really cool. We ship in omelets. Well, we shipped in raw eggs over here, and then we ship out omelets just because it gets up to temperature. The reason I'm using the teppidizer is because it gets up to a high enough temperature to do the work. The other device is a space heater, but unfortunately that doesn't get hot enough. It gets close, really close, but not quite hot enough. So the teppidizer is kind of needed for this. Besides, once you heat this thing up, you'll probably never run it again. So ultimately, that saves a little bit of time when it comes to cooking up all of those eggs. So that's nice and useful. You may not need a chef, considering that the omelets are kind of your primary food source that comes out of these, unless you happen to have a lot of pinch of pepper nuts. But there are some debuffs from the barbecue because you get soul food. They go a little bit slower. Actually, their athletics go down. They are really happy though. So I would say the omelet is the primary source that you really want to get out of this farm. So you may not need all of these different incubators. You just need enough to keep them populated down there. So maybe we actually kind of combine this and an incubator just to say, okay, we really only want the incubators to run when we have a spare spot for some of these critters down there. So really we just do egg. All right, so now the big question, how much time did we save? Well, last time we looked at this, we were using up one dupe's time pretty much full time. So if we take a look at the numbers here, it's really challenging to get a good idea if you're saving time or not, because these are just a bunch of numbers cycle after cycle, and they're not all the same. A graph here would make a world of difference, and I'm not going to write down all these numbers. But so if we look at just the last cycle there, that's 198 seconds of ranching, so that's 1/3 of your day. You sing to an egg for 53 seconds. That seems pretty consistent. So now you're up to about half the cycle. Delivered a critter feeder. I'm not sure why you'd even be doing that. That's automatically done. I think that's somebody else in a different spot. So I think where we were and where we are now is a difference of a little bit over 100 seconds. So I'm going to say we saved roughly about 1/3 of a cycle for a dupe as far as the amount of effort that goes into running these ranches. That's kind of my rough estimate, and I've looked at several cycles, but it just depends on what cycle you're looking at. It's a rough estimate, but there we have it, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode here of Oxygen Not Included. I think it's a cool thing. We came up with a neat amount of ideas, and we were able to incorporate it into one crazy build here, but now we got to take it and we got to roll it to the next step where it's going to be just as awesome, but a fair bit more simple. So, and then we can apply that to the ultimate automation base. If I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Also, a big thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys are really doing awesome over there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll see you again in the next episode. Stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.